Hey, let me do a check-in with Journey to Mars, the 1905 novel by Gustavus W. Pope, a kind of an early science fiction novel where Frederick Hamilton, his trusty companion John, and John's trusty companion, the Raven Jack, are taken to Mars by Martians, whom they rescue them from certain death trapped in an iceberg in the Antarctic regions. Antarctic, God damn it! I believe it's the Antarctic. Yes, are taken aboard. They meet their Martian pals who are blowing the hell out of the ice and clearing paths and stuff in the polar sea, are nursed back to health, are taken by means of electrovolt technology, basically traveling the magnetic streams between planets to Mars, where disguised as Martians, they're taken to the great capital where they have just met the Princess Sulimia. Oh, after we are treated to an orgasmic, patriotic thing of them, of the very polite and hospitable Martians displaying the Stars and Stripes and playing the Star Spangled Banner, because apparently that's when he was delirious. Franklin, here's the truck. Franklin was apparently singing, or at least remembering, the Star Spangled Banner, and they were able to transcribe it and put it out for him, which is hilarious. And it's just like, it's so unabashedly patriotic, of like how America is the greatest nation on Earth, and you know, it just kind of, oh god, it is just even at this point, the Americans, this is like, you know, pre-World War I or World War II, so when they were arguably not a world power, there's still that thing with with Americans of that, we are the greatest country on Earth, which as a Canadian, who are most definitely not the greatest country on Earth, I can only laugh about as having lived up here. Oh god, yeah, I've got a truck that is parked behind me is gonna wail through this entire video, but screw it. This is probably the only time I'm gonna actually get this video done. Oh, and then they stopped for the moment until they start again. So there's a lot of description in this book, a lot of description, a lot of $3 or $4 words, $10 words, $5 words, I don't know. But you know, it's one of these, it's a good reading exercise. I'll give it that. I'm reading this out loud, to myself. I think only to myself. Good Lord. Whereas I'm like Gulliver of Mars, which I read out loud, I might think, oh, you know, maybe some other people might be interested in that. I kind of toy with the idea of putting it on my other channel. Probably won't. But this one, it's like, oh, I'm stumbling over words. It's good exercise for trying to read out loud, and doing it in, like, you know, up to about 25-minute chunks each day is a good exercise. Hopefully my reading is getting better. Hopefully my pacing is getting better for the spoken word. Hopefully. If not, it is also a good way of reading this book because it's all in a PDF form, and I would never ever read it to myself in this PDF form on my phone if it wasn't for the fact that I was reading it out loud. It's very martial in its outlook. There's a lot of kind of, it's the military, we're meeting this military, we're meeting that military. You know, as the thing is with them, with these democratic Americans, they are just besotted by royalty. This is all about Prince Altafora and his, you know, the great glorious government, and displaying all his battlements, and how, like, wow, his court is so much better than any court of England, you know, any not court of Europe would be. It's so much more beautiful and awesome in its displays, which is just like, okay, you're really into the royalty, dude. That's fine. We're not really, it's very much kind of, I think what I would consider is like kind of the Jules Verne explorer method, versus, like, you know, I think about Edgar Rice Burroughs. That was all about, you know, there's princess and princesses, but it was like, it was action adventure, where this is much more, oh, I'm learning about this culture. I'm learning about this place. I'm getting lots of descriptions of this ship. Oh, I'm getting lots of descriptions of the court. Oh, I'm learning about the flora and fauna. Oh, I'm learning about the moons and how quickly they revolve around Mars. And there's all these footnotes, which I'm not reading out loud because that would be impossible, especially in PDF form. But it would my reading is probably choppy as hell already, so I don't need to try and make it even more choppy by stopping, scrolling down to the footnote, reading the footnote, and then scrolling back up again. And besides, I'm mostly of the opinion, especially in fiction, if you've got a footnote, well, then you don't need to read it. Unless you absolutely need to read it. And this isn't one of these experimental books where you need to read it. And just as a poor narrator, it's like, I don't need to read this. I don't need to read this. That's just, I'm gonna leave it there. Yeah. John continues to be kind of a racial stereotype of kind of a New Zealand native. I'm trying to work on my voices, but there's so many young dashing captains. I don't have, like, I basically have one young dashing captain voice. The Prince Altafora, I try and do in a kind of a smooth kind of, he's a smooth talker, kind of flowing way, whereas the narrator is like, he's a very American, and he's very kind of like, oh wow, kind of wonder kind of voice. I'm decided to go for of Frederick Hamilton. So yeah, that's what I have. Oh, here comes back the truck driver who just who provided all that noise at the beginning of the video. I think I'll stop now before we get more rumble noises. So yeah, it's a little bit of a, this is definitely training. It feels like training. It feels like I'm working out as I'm reading this. It's less sweeping me away than Gulliver of Mars was. Let's put it that way. It's much more, it's like, okay, this is more kind of Jules Verne, probably less to my taste, but I feel like, okay, I've gotten 28 chapters in. I will plug on like a chapter a day, at least a chapter a day, hopefully at least a chapter a day, and go from there. All right. Because I love to talk so much. More videos later.